Okay, well, I guess we'll have to watch the
Today,
obvious.
Monday, we're going to test out a brand new mouse trap
Sorry, my
that
throat's
fits on a
dry.
5-gallon bucket. It has a hole in the center, it forms a funnel, and it looks like something that belongs on a mini golf course. In fact, it's called the Hole-in-One Mouse Trap, made by Rhinecone. They make a variety of
Hole
mouse traps, and
in
I saw this
one.
brand new product on Amazon. I wanted to
Lewd.
test it out. The Hole-in-One's
It's probably
made to
because I'm
fit on a
drinking
standard
coffee. My
5-gallon
throat gets
bucket.
like
There's 4
phlegmy or
clips on the
something. I
edge.
don't know.
Now the bucket's not included, but you do get a ramp. We'll open up the package.
Hi, how's it going, old chap?
Leno Lal. What's this? OL chap.
That clips together, and the
Hello
mice can
there.
climb up to the top.
So I'm just
Hole-in-One has
kind
a
of being
funnel in the
lazy,
center.
and
To
I
draw the
haven't
mice
set
in,
up my
place peanut butter around the
animated
bottom. You
avatar
can smell it
this
through the
time.
holes. Now here's the clips, and right here is where you attach the
Yeah,
ramp.
sorry.
Put that on.
Leno Lal. This is a
Now we'll
review.
put the ramp together.
It's like
Just
trap.
like
Yeah.
Legos.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fit
It's a
in.
trap review. This is a trap reviewing a
Perfect.
trap
Now the
review.
mouse will come up the
A
ramp,
trap review
try
of
to
a
get the
trap
bait,
review.
drop in the center, and be
So this
caught in the
guy
bucket. Now I'm
talks
curious
about
how
mouse
well it works.
traps.
So I'm going
Leno
to test
Lal.
it out with our pet mice first.
James
but you can't
Review
see
is
what's
the
going
best
on.
reviewer.
So I'm going to attach it to our clear bucket. Now, not
He
everybody
was
shakes
the
like
best
themselves,
reviewer,
chap.
but this one
but
fits
I'm
perfectly
here
You
now.
should watch
inside the
Robert
lip.
Downey
Now I
Jr.
place the
screaming.
fabric down at the bottom.
I
So when
don't
they
like
drop
your
down, they won't
suggestions,
get
old
hurt.
chap. They scare me.
Here's some more of their friends.
Miceies! Little mousy wousy. Oh my gosh, look at that little orange one. He's so chonk. Oh my gosh. Like, these are nice mice. No, I'm going to the hole.
Well, clearly our pet mice aren't motivated by food. They've been standing around for 20 minutes, but they're not dropping down. All they're doing is pooping everywhere. Now, sometimes wild mice act very
Story of my
differently than our
life.
pet mice.
They're
So
not
we're gonna
doing
put 'em back
anything.
in
All
their
they're
cage,
doing are
then set
pooping
this up in the barn
everywhere.
with motion cameras and see if wild mice will drop down in the hole-in-one.
OL chap. We need to see the chink closer. Leno Lal. All they're doing is pooping anywhere. That's what Kyonko says when talking about us.
Well, I say it, but am I wrong? Where's my background? Okay, yeah, I want to change this. Oh, I thought I already had it changed. Wait, what is it saying? That's weird. That's weird. I don't like it. Things are odd now. I'm scared. There. Now the screen's a little more complete. How do you guys like my room? Is it pretty chill? I hope you guys like my room. I tried to make it up nice for you guys.
OL chap.
Well,
I
last
don't
night
like
was
it.
a very good night
It has
for a
no
mouse
good
trap.
guy.
The funnel in the center with the peanut butter was just too tempting, and
I guess
overall
I
we
should
got
make this
5
bigger,
holes in one.
because then I have a
Once
bigger
we
view
got the
window.
first one, the others dropped down and joined their friends. Now these are non-native invasive house mice, so I can't let them go.
Non-native.
Instead, I'm going to humanely dispatch them and feed them to wild animals. So let's go set up the motion cameras and see what wild animals enjoy these 5 mice hole-in-one snacks.
Possum. Yeah, that's, I guess he must live on a farm or something, because that's sort of, if you're dealing with mice like that, that's just part of, you know, managing a area with mice that wander through it. I don't like killing things. I really don't. But it's almost like worse if people have no awareness of it, or like they just don't go like, oh yeah, this steak I'm eating, it came from a cow.
Bring forth the holy hand grenade. Leno Lal. You killed my hopes and dreams.
The opossum enjoyed the 5 mice we caught with the hole-in-one mouse trap.
I don't have the
Overall,
holy
quite
hand
well, the
grenade.
mice
It's an
dropped down in the
Antioch.
bucket,
Didn't you
but we
read?
didn't catch every mouse. So if this is your only trap, You might get some smart mice that you just can't catch with it.
If this is your only trap.
Of traps, including a rolling log, a walk the plank, and other styles. They're not a sponsor. I've paid full price for their traps, but I always want to support.
I paid full price for their traps. These reviews take on an entirely different context when we watch them.
I really enjoy seeing the fan art, so keep it coming. I've posted over 600
A trap channel with fan art. Yep, this is officially anime related.
Every Monday and Friday. So if you want to see the best videos on how to catch mice, rats, squirrels, chipmunks, moles, voles, and gophers, stay tuned. Oh yeah, and I got a new backdrop. My stagehand will help me. Pretty cool.
It's me.
Carson loves helping out. Thanks for watching.
Leno Lau. Why are our messages always being read loudly? I want you to stop the stream completely to read every single comment.
I thought people would like it better if it was text to stream, because, oh, I know I set that up, because, I was playing a game and I couldn't Alt-tab out to see the chat or something, so that was a way I could still hear messages, but, yeah, you probably make a good point. No one else really does that. And there's no need to if I can read and see the stream. I should only do that if I really can't respond to it. So,
El Chap. Deus Vult, brothers.
So yeah, now you guys get all your comments read in my voice. So Deus Vult, brothers. Don't actually though. There's no need to retake the Holy Land. Leno Lau. Hey. Oh, here. This will work. Do 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 do. Na na da na 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 down. Dee doo doo doo. Now my chat is always on top. Yay! Oh my gosh, there's my stream. What?
It is June 8th, 2020, and 76 years
Old
ago,
chap, hey, read it like Miles said it in the Spider-Verse.
The action was still quite hot 2 days after the Allied invasion of
I forget, do you guys
began,
like history stuff, or is it too boring for you?
Then were still coming under fire from German positions. In the British sector, the British 6th Airborne Division was facing a dogged counterattack by the German 346th Infantry Division. And behind Omaha Beach, men of the U.S. 2nd and 5th Rangers and 116th Infantry Regiment were fighting against dogged opposition to rescue the remnants of 3 companies of Rangers that had been cut off from support. It was a day of action. It was a day of loss.
Yeah, his videos can be a little dry. I like them, but yeah, they can be kind of dry. Oh wait, where's my subs? I'm trying to remember. I think this guy's Canadian. Pretty sure.
In the early 2000s, Frogger really struggled to find a place.
You guys ever watch Nitro Rad?
Konami clearly wanted to take the classic character and turn him into a big franchise, but at first they really didn't know how to do it. Around this time, Frogger would aimlessly bounce.
Old chap, bro, imagine wearing camo. This message was sent by the Holy Crusaders.
No idea what it wanted to
Crusader Piggle, go home. Actually, you know what? In hindsight, yeah, it really is better if I turn off the chats, because now I read it out out loud and I actually have stuff to say.
Perverse writing,
Leno
and
Lau.
terrible
We need the loud
graphics,
messages.
but
I
those
feel
things
lost without
aside, it
them.
was still a
Aw.
boring and
Well,
generic
you might feel
platformer
lost
at its
without
very
them, but
core.
actually,
Frogger
now that I
hit
read your
rock
comments, I
bottom,
feel more
but
connected
while
to
this little
them.
frog was struggling on console,
Because,
there
like,
was
the
a short
voice going
timeline of
was
portable
almost
Frogger
like...
games for the Game
I
Boy
don't want you guys to
Advance,
think I
each of
ignored
which
you,
taking
but it
a
was
very
like,
different
it was
approach to the
easy to
recent
kind of keep in the
disaster on
background.
PS2. There are 4 Frogger games we're going to be talking about today. First up, we have Frogger's Adventures, Temple of the Frog. When I was a kid, I didn't really have that many Game Boy Advance games. It feels like I only had the thing for like 2 years.
Are they
before the DS
talking
came
about
out.
like
But
a
in my short
religious
time with
temple
the
for
Game
a
Boy
frog, or are
Advance,
they
I did
talking
play
about like a
lot of
frog
Mario World,
vein
a ton of Pro
temple
Skater
on the
3,
side of his
and
head?
a bunch of Temple of the Frog. Now this right here is actually the one and only Frogger game that I grew up playing. I had this game as a kid, and I remember playing quite a bit of it. This was more or less my first and only exposure to what the Frogger series was, and I do remember coming out of it with a fairly good opinion on Frogger, so based on what I remember, it's probably at least decent. It seems like a lot of people grew up with this one. A quick Google search.
I turned myself into Crusader, Morty. I'm Crusader. Rick.
And one of the best-selling games. The
Mute your voice and max the volume of the loud messages. Make us the streamer. Crusader, Rick, funniest thing ever.
Let's start a new file and see how Temple of the Frog holds up. Ooh, that title screen music, that is funky. I like that. So, despite having a separate canon from the Great Quest, Temple of the Frog still seems to draw a lot of influence
So,
from it.
fun fact about the Crusades,
Frogger's design here closely resembles his design from the Great Quest, but
it's where we get the word to crusade from.
Looks all that great, but
like a crusade against racial injustice or a crusade against police brutality.
Zippy the Turtle, Lily the Fairy, these guys are all back, but these are different versions of these characters.
The more
They
you
look
know.
exactly the same, but they
Old
certainly
chap,
don't
my name
act
is
the
Doof,
same
and
way.
my
And
name
by
is
that I mean
Doof,
they act
and you'll do
normal,
what I
not
say. What?
weird as
My
hell.
name is
The
Doof,
story
and you'll
begins
do
with
what I
Toad
say.
explaining
What?
to
What?
Frogger that Firefly Swamp is dying because a Grim Reaper
Although now
named
chat
Mr.
is
Bean
weird
stole
because
the keep the swamp
every
alive.
time I read a
Interesting how
comment, it's like
Mr.
I'm talking
B
to
is the main
myself,
villain this
so I
time.
feel like I'm
That's
going
actually
insane
another character from
faster.
the Great Quest. I completely
Actually, that's
forgot
not
to
true.
mention
I've
this
always
part
been
when I did about the
crazy,
game.
and that's what's kept
There's
me
this
from
one
going
part where you find
insane,
the Grim
so...
Reaper himself in this ancient tree cave, and after you beat him,
Leno
he takes
Lau,
off
I
his
think
hood,
that's
and
because
it's
of the
you.
tank named
He's
Crusader, which
Frogger,
was like a
you are
super
him.
taxi
I
in
guess they're going for, like,
steroids.
the whole self-understanding trial.
Yeah, the
Luke
Crusader was,
Skywalker in the
from
cave
what I
sort of
understand, a
thing,
pretty
but
good light
it made
tank.
no sense to be shoehorned into this plot and then forgotten about
I
after
wonder
Frogger
if there's a
gains
video
nothing from it and
on...
does not develop as a character at all. So that throwaway villain.
Since you mentioned British tanks. Yay, there is!
Hi there, can I help you folks?
Yeah, my daughter's looking for a car that goes...
Have you seen this one before, Leno Lau?
Dad, this is the car.
Hang on.
Matilda.
What can you tell me about this one?
Oh, that's just an old tank I use for those commercials where I declare war on high prices.
Hang on there, Slick. Now I see your game. Now I
Think, what is that, the Conqueror?
Did I mention the tank is a
MBT. Sold.
This video is sponsored by NordVPN, the 2018 best VPN for your personal online information and history. British tank designs in World War II sit in a weird area as far as historical discussion goes. They're often vehemently defended, but often not looked into to the same extent.
I really
as
like
many
British
other countries'
tanks. I think,
designs when
well,
discussing
I'll
the
let him
war.
explain it
And I
better.
believe the reason for this is due to them feeling fairly average.
NordVPN doesn't feel traps represent their VPN standards.
Which is fairly different from the other 3 big nations in the European War that were more deeply influenced by industrial or grand strategic needs.
The construction of the tank, even by British standards at that time, and that's not saying much.
In my opinion, for all intents and purposes, the British are the pioneers
Get
of the tank.
dunked.
And I know that's a fairly controversial subject, and you can pull all sorts of designs from earlier time periods that weren't developed and focus on who came up with the concept. You could argue the French, as they developed at similar times and created the first conventional tank layout with the FT, but the British were the first ones to shoot at anybody with a tank, so for that, they're first in my book. And with this development in World War I, they began thinking of ways to...
Yeah, that's always a dangerous game to play. Who was the first person to quote-unquote do something?
Unfortunately, though,
The really scary thing I've noticed about that over time is a lot of times it's actually used to take inventions from non-European countries and like make it seem like it started in Europe. Like
heavier,
universities
slower
are
to
kind of
break
like
holes
that.
in the enemy line,
They had
and lighter,
universities
faster cruiser
in
tanks to
Morocco
go through
before they
these
had
holes and exploit the
universities in
breakthroughs,
Europe,
causing problems
but
behind
Europe
enemy
doesn't
lines.
recognize
In the
them as a
1920s, the
traditional
British
European
experimented with
style
this and very
university,
much committed
so
to
they
this
don't
military
technically
doctrine. You see
qualify
this
when they talk
reflected in
about
their
the
tank
oldest
design and what
universities in the
ultimately makes these
world.
so mediocre in the eyes of many. Now, the British went through a lot of designs before they settled on
Old
some of their
chap, we need
better
to make a
ones.
time
A few,
machine to
such as
bring the
the
Knights
Vickers
Templar to
six-ton,
2020
although
so
not
they can use
adopted
their
by the
horses
British
to
Army,
trample the
were exported
riders.
to other countries and
No,
were
we
heavily
don't.
influenced
That's
designs.
not a
Infantry
good
tanks are
statement to
typically what people
make.
think of when they
I don't
picture
know if you're
British tanks in
joking
World
or
War II,
serious, because
especially in North Africa. So in
comments
both the
about that
Matilda
lately
variants
are
and the
all over the
Churchill. For what it's
place.
worth, the Matilda II and Churchill were excellent designs. The Matilda had very strong armor, an excellent crew layout, and the 2-pounder gun that it and many other British tanks were armed with was a very effective anti-tank gun in the early part of the war. In France in 1940, a group of Matildas counterattacked some of Rommel's forces, causing a panic as the Germans couldn't figure out how to kill them and nearly caused a retreat. They were also very effective at many points in the North Africa campaign, earning its title the Queen of the Desert. And it was the only tank, besides the Sherman,
Yeah, people
used on all
forget
3
that
major
the
fronts
people
of the
that put
entire
Erwin
war,
Rommel
also
on the
being used by
run were the
Soviets and in
British.
Southeast Asia.
You know, it
The
wasn't
tanks remained
like
in service throughout the whole war and shared
they had
many of the
anything
same
crazy
key
or
features,
incredible. It was
becoming the most
just good,
survivable tank
solid
of the war
British
thanks to its
tactics that
armor, and
did
being able to have
Rommel
its
in
gun
and kicked him
upgraded
out
due
of
to a
Africa.
larger and later on upgraded turret. The cruiser tanks were slightly less successful, but still not bad. Although having reliability problems more often, the Crusader designs were well liked by their crews when they worked, and had some impressive top speeds in their later variants. So the tanks themselves were not awful. Their drawbacks, such as slow speed for the infantry tanks and thin armor for the cruiser tanks, were consciously made
Blessed
design
Rose
choices,
Hip removes your
armaments, for the
speed
most
limiter
part,
and
were
calls
very
you
effective
gay.
as the models were being created and were upgraded whenever possible.
Let's
The
watch the
problem with
donkey
British
rap.
tanks is that the
DK,
design
Chunky is
philosophy for their
dead.
intended use
Okay,
and the
see,
industrial
you
base
guys
that
gotta make up
created
your
them
mind. Do you want me to
ran
turn
headlong
on
into
the text to
reality once
speech
the
or do you
war
want me to
became
turn it
proper.
off?
British planners had a
I can't
hard
just go
time
back and forth
embracing the
like this.
bind-on
This is
portion.
too much for
But
me.
unlike the
This is
Japanese,
too much
who wrote
stress
it
as a
off out of
streamer. I
decorum,
didn't sign up
defending
for
a
this.
later refusal to use it,
Oh my
General
god.
Haig in World War
Oh
I
my
seemed to
god, you
grasp the
guy.
concept fairly solidly, mentioning that the new forces of mechanization would not be of any use without the other arms of the military. But between 1918 and the early North Africa campaigns, this seems to have
Okay,
been
so that's
lost,
one vote for
resulting in some
turn on.
ridiculous
Do I
tank
hear a
losses in
second vote for
battles,
turn
most
on?
often against well-placed German anti-tank gun positions. Because the tanks would often go in relatively unsupported to these attacks, the Germans could often pick them off fairly easily using their 88s on the heavier tanks and other anti-tank weapons along with their tanks to take out the cruisers. The effect of this was compounded by the rather poor production system the British had in place. Unlike many of the countries in the war that attempted to standardize as many parts in their war industry as possible, such as the United States and the Soviet Union, the British tank designs often shared absolutely
The
nothing in
Soviet
common with each other
Union.
outside of maybe the
Turn
gun,
on.
with different
Okay.
engines, suspension systems, and types of armor being used. That limited the number of tanks able to be produced as they're all so different, which is strange because the opposite is true for the RAF. They standardized a lot in their aircraft manufacturing. Luckily, the Americans joined the war just in time and provided tanks for the British before the conflict hit its disaster point. And I know that sounds
Feck
generalistic,
off.
and I can hear the angry British comments already. And there were
OL
other factors
chat.
such as a change in command and a change in tactics.
Remember,
But as far
no
as tanks
Russian.
go, the M3 Lee was designed and rushed out as a
Aw.
stopgap and given to the British and proved vital. Also, the first consignments of Sherman tanks were literally ripped out of the hands of the U.S. tank
Trying to
division's
think, what's a
training
Russian?
team to be
What was
sent
a Russian
overseas.
word that we
Although I
use in
cringe some
English
at
a
that
lot?
statement too, given the
Comrade?
evidence, I think it's a
Or
fairly
was that
honest
German?
representation of what happened, at least on the armor side of things. And this is where the assessment of British vehicles begins to get a little muddy, as the British continued to use American vehicles heavily for the remainder of the war. However, the British did continue to innovate and design on their own models and improve on the American models as well, creating conversions of the Lee into the Grant that eliminated the Radio Man, improving the ergonomics of the tank, and the conversion of the Sherman to a Firefly, adding a 17-pounder gun that eventually became one of the more famous Sherman variants in the war. Although I don't think it's the best one, as the gun breech was so comically large for the turret, it really affected the fighting capability of the tank with very poor ergonomics inside.
Oh my gosh. Let's see, what were some Russian words? So gulag, balaklava, balalaika. I don't feel like those are really English words. Mammoth. Okay, there's one that is one you definitely hear in English. Matryoshka. Sable. Okay, that's another one.
Lenolau. Cheeky breeky.
Daiga. Cheeky breeky is actually Ukrainian, not Russian.
Lenolau. For damk.
For dump.
Suka. Lenolau. A.
Kefir. Kefir is delicious. I love kefir.
OL chap. Pupen farden. Lenolau. Potato.
Duma glass nose.
Lenolau. Masher.
Huh. Yeah, so not as many words as I thought.
Radio won't fit. Put a hole in the back and have it stick out the back. The engine's no good. Get 5 car engines and put them together.
It was also attempt number 2 of 3 to successfully put a 17-pounder in a tank.
Wait a second.
OL chap.
Oh,
Reaction to black people.
old chap, you really can't send stuff like that. That is gonna get me in big trouble.
OL chap does.
And I will have to ban you from this, so don't play with that right now. Things are really serious when it comes to joking about that kind of thing, so just be careful around it. Because I will have a very low tolerance on that.
Being designed in 1942 and seeing battle in 1944 that made it fairly outclassed in its debut, and some
so consider this like a warning, your chance to improve, and you know, just don't. We don't have to be like that. You know, we joke about traps and crazy stuff like that, but let's.
And although they were fairly late to the concept,
you know, there's a lot of people really hurting right now, and I don't know if you noticed, my stream has a little thing that says Black Lives Matter, and that's sort of important to me, so we'll just leave it at that.
I absolutely love.
The first of these was the Comet, the final and, in my opinion, first practical move to put a 17-pounder on a tank.
It's right next to the Doritos.
This tank saw the very end of the war, and although it lacked sloping armor, something that was pretty much universal at this point, it proved very capable in the first step in the
like, unless I misunderstood that or something, but it did kind of sound like something a little iffy, so...
World War II, it saw use in Korea and innumerable other conflicts in the decades.
I mean, if you want a genuine reaction to me reacting to black people, I don't know if you'll get one, because to me, they're just people like everyone else, and everybody's a little different, and you have to get to know anybody, you know, when you first meet them to understand where they're coming from. It's like that. It's funny how such an old saying has so much depth to it, but, you know, don't judge a book by its cover. And the amount of times I find myself checked on that is hilarious.
I hope this video is worth the wait, since the best tank of World War II video way back in... Oh, Jesus, that was a long time ago. When I first started seeing requests to talk about British tanks, but I'm interested to know what your thoughts are as well. And let me know down below.
Lenolau.
Thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video.
Oh, God, yes. God, yes, yeah, you find racism in any country. Don't think for a second there's anywhere that you won't find racism. It's kind of sad, but... I mean, on one hand, racism in Canada is definitely not as bad as some countries, and that makes it both better and worse, because what you kind of end up with is like this really subtle racism that doesn't really, like, people don't die like they do in America, but it's still there's definitely some bias and bullshit that happens from time to time.
There is even racism on Matanui.
Yeah. I mean, racism is just one step beyond stereotypes, right? It's when you take a stereotype so literally that you think people are functionally, literally, anatomically less than you because of some bullshit thing some guy said that we know just isn't true. Like, the very idea of a superior race is broken down purely by the idea of blood donations. The fact that we can all interchangeably, to some degree, share the same blood minus blood type shows that, you know, there isn't this genetic purity of any sort people think of. You know, we're interchangeable car engines.
Hey guys, Griffin here from the Armchair Historian channel. Italy is remembered as one of the three big Axis powers, hell-bent on asserting fascist control all across the globe.
More like shittily, am I right?
And more recently, the latter. From the outset, during the invasion of Greece, Italy would establish a reputation for not doing so well in the war-waging department. From Stalingrad to
you guys need to check me and make sure I don't make any really tasteless jokes about Italy losing World War II relating to modern stuff.
Check out the video in the description below. Thanks to Potential History for collaborating with me on this topic.
I don't get it. Our rebreathers. We designed them as well as we did our tanks.
This is the most numerous tank produced by the Italian army, which was directly influenced by the design of the British Carbon Mark
Pizza Wagon.
Often referred to as the CV-33. It featured riveted armor. Hey Mussolini, World War I called. It wants its shitty armor design back. And a bogey suspension on a leaf spring. Although by the time the L-35 variant came out, the armor was bolted, which made for a sturdier design. It was equipped with twin 8mm machine guns and was used just about everywhere the Italians fought, from the Soviet Union to Italian East Africa, and remained in service for the duration of the war. Press F for the guy who had to crew one of these in 1944.
No
the only
kidding.
notable variant of this tank was the L3LF flamethrower variant, as it could spread panic against enemy forces if it got
like, what even is it? It's like a go-kart of a tank.
Did poorly against just about anything with an actual anti-tank gun, or really just a high-caliber rifle or machine gun. Yep. But I mean, I guess it's kind of cute. Fielded in 1940, the L640, designed as a direct upgrade from the L335, was the main tank used by the Italian army on the Eastern Front, and also saw service in the North African campaign. It was a light design with riveted armor between 6 to 30 millimeters in thickness, and had a one-man turret in the center with a single Beretta Modello 35mm main gun and a Beretta coaxial machine gun. Due to shortages of medium tanks in the Italian army, it was quickly put into regular units, though it was mainly designed for scouting and reconnaissance. It was first put into action in the Balkans and made up a lot of the Italian armored forces in Operation Barbarossa. Although slightly better, this thing was basically a stunted Panzer II, and featured still many outdated designs such as a side door escape hatch and an underpowered engine.
Where's the goddamn T-34?
This tank was designed to replace most of the Italian designs before it, being sent in large amounts to most of the Italian divisions to directly upgrade old models, and ended up being the main battle tank for the Italians during the war. The design was mostly upgrades from previous tanks, namely a wider turret to hold a 47mm anti-tank gun, and a better engine for mobility. The design borrowed heavily from Vickers 7-ton, which meant it was based on reliable, tried-and-true tank-building methods, which was very good.
I'm a T-34 fanboy as much as the next,
making the tank outdated at its debut.
What's the word for,
all just wear suits of armor so nobody
This one
can
doesn't
tell your
count. It
skin
came in
color.
way too late at the end of the war, made no impact, and I don't even think the Italians used it, just the Germans did. Now I could continue to go on, but this became a dead horse beating about halfway
on the flip side,
people, the story of Italian tanks and the Italian army's
the
performance
fact that we're as upset as we are about it, and the fact that there is so much coverage of it, shows how much things have changed. Because even like 50 years ago in America, you had guys saying things that,
The first reason
you know,
is Italy
guys
is not a very
can't get away with today. They can't say things like, we will never allow the negative word for black people to integrate into our white schools.
Large-scale military development or expansion.
Like, guys legit said that in the 60s. And they believed it, and they enforced it, and they were willing to put armed guards there to stop black teenagers from going to school. These were, like, snowflakes of the snowflakiest flake that ever flaked. People who literally could not in their possibly for a second educate the idea that non-white people could conduct education in the same way they could. They literally supported this idea that their brains could not comprehend the magnificence of white Southern education.
Unwilling to break with what worked for them previously, prepared for combat in very rough,
But anyways.
unforgiving mountainous terrain, just as they had fought in.
No, I was
World
just
War
trying to think of what was
This is
the
where
what's like
surplus of
the
Tank
because
X
like
comes
for
from.
if you're a
It is
fan of
not really
German
until
tanks, you're aware of
1935 that the Italian army
So I
realizes
forget
that
what
the
it is if you're a
situation
fan
has
of
changed,
oh,
and they would
Russian
most likely be
bias,
fighting
right?
in
Russian
other types of
bias.
terrain. But due to the aforementioned weak industrial base, the Italians have a lot of trouble shifting the gears of their economy to a different type of war production, as it is so weak. I think one reason we forget this is due to the fact that Germany very easily was able to shift production from light to heavy tanks, so we expect the same of the other Axis countries, not bearing in mind the economic differences of the two. And now you have to be asking yourself, if this is the case, and these awful tanks are the result, why in the name of God would they throw in behind the Germans to get involved in this gigantic war
World
that
War
even on
II,
paper it looks like they have no business
the people
being
who realized it was going to
the
be a
answer to
war
that, and answer
based
number
on
3 to this whole
production
question,
and
is
supply
this guy.
were the
No,
ones
wait,
who
this
ended
guy.
up furthest
Nah, I'm
ahead.
kidding.
So
It's him, the original fascist brainlet himself, who decided that regardless of his country's economic or industrial standing, he had to restore the Roman Empire. Somehow, and pushed his country into war long before it was ready, even actually before World War II began, when he got into a conflict in Ethiopia in 1935. And to do this, Beanhead Benito rapidly expands his military under the aforementioned economic and industrial problems, of which the poor tanks are only one of many disastrous results, along with holes in logistics, outdated weapons for the infantry, and just an overall lack of modern fighting equipment for the military. I mean, just look at the Italians outside Stalingrad. They're not even really given a fighting chance with what they were equipped with.
Oof.
So my main point is, although Italian tanks are an excellent meme, they were born out of a desperate situation and not really in ignorance of the facts of what made a good tank at the time. And I think you could broadly apply this to most of the Italian army, that they were willing
yes,
to fight
his name
and
was
could
Churchill.
fight well, but were horribly let down by their leadership's inability to reason with the facts on the ground.
OL chap. I gotta go to
I would like to thank my patrons on Patreon for making this video possible, especially the ones at the $5 and $10 levels that will be shown on the screen. I'd also like to thank the Armchair Historian for reaching out to collaborate. I'm really excited about collaborating with a fellow historian, and please take time to check out his video on why the Italians were so bad in World War II. Thanks for watching.
do 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 do.
Lenolau. Apparently it wasn't a monkey but a bear and his name was Wojciech. He was eventually promoted to artillery officer.
Yeah, Wojciech the Bear. And he was actually with the Polish guys. So not technically, he was in the British Army because the British took in the remnants of the Polish army that they managed to evacuate from Poland. So he was part of the Polish regiments. But yeah, you can technically say he was a part of the British Army, but it technically he was more of the Polish army.
Lenolau. He was a smoker.
Well, yeah, it's well known that bears chain smoke.
Watch Eggman vs Neckman.
Doesn't this sound better though? This is spooky. It's abandoned. Ooh, abandoned.
Episode 52, and this is a very special episode.
Wow, this is really
Today,
quiet.
I wanted to talk about something I've been making videos on for a while. A place which inspired me to even start this series. I made an episode on it way back in 2015, but so much has happened since, and there's so much more that I never got a chance to talk about. So today, let's revisit
I
Walt
guess
Disney
it
World's
is
first
decently
water
loud.
park and one of the most iconic abandoned theme park locations in the world, River Country. This
River
episode
Country.
is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Go to surfshark.deals/BSF to get 85% off and 3
Do you mean
extra months.
Sonic?
It all began in 1973 with the
What
worldwide
is it
oil
called?
crisis.
Sonic Schoolhouse?
Walt Disney
Lenolau.
World had just opened 2
Sonic
years
High
prior.
School.
Okay, but please don't let it be really stupid. Like, remember, recommendations you make are like kind of a reflection on me, so oh, it's Internet Historian. Okay, I like Internet Historian.
VPN. Sure, you could see the new Sonic movie. Or you could watch Frederick Knudsen, Emperor Lemon, Cynical Reviews, Chavez Slovakia, Theft 9, Seth Scene Tech, Jesus, and music by Too Mad. In Dark Doom Fire Master's epic fanfiction. And Sonic screamed,
"Whoa! I am late for school! I have to get to school now!"
Sonic jumping out of bed. Sonic
I don't think this is going to be my thing.
Chap. Eggman vs. Neckman.
Eggman versus Neckman. Yeah, no, I just like I grew up when My Immortal was still being written, so like I'm well versed in cringecore. I think the problem is too, like I'm a How do you
You broke my heart.
How would you define being a fan of Chris Chan? You're not really a fan, you're just like an observer. Like you're not a fan of what he does. No one likes what he does or who he is. But like you observe him and you follow him and it's like you're a stalker, I guess? Eggman versus Neckman. Oh god, I'm gonna regret this.
Shut tech boy. Die.
Nah. Yeah, it's too LOL random for me. I didn't get anything out of it. Weed Eater.
Not a lot of people know this, but L. Ron Hubbard was a black man. Truth? His real name was L. Ron Hoyer Bembe. Who do we want?
L. Ron Hoyer Bembe.
Who do we want him? 10 trillion years. This sounds like a Diplo song.
L. Ron Hubbard is the true God. Black, there is no hell.
There is no. No. Is that what?
OL chat.
Yeah, that's
Watch
right.
Reviving Bionicle.
Battlefield Earth should have been a Tyler Perry movie.
That's right.
I'm the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Prove it. Take a poop in front of us.
And then turn it into wine.
Turn that
Poop into wine. Turn that poop into wine. Turn that poop into wine. Turn that poop into wine. Turn that poop into wine. Turn that poop into wine. Turn that poop into wine. Reviving Bionicle. Is this no, you don't want me to watch the whole series, do you? Bruh. I'm sorry. What? Dude, come on. Keep recommendations kind of reasonable. I can't just watch that.
OL chap. Just the first episode.
All you ever want to watch is Bionicle things, man. Like, we got to get some diversity or something. It's a little concerning.
Lenolau. You refused to watch Sonic High School.
I'm sorry, I have what I like.
Watch Bionicle then.
Don't bully me into watching Bionicle. I'm not a huge Bionicle person. It's okay, but it's not like Oh, here we go. More trap reviews.
Age 15 and up. Man, I picked a fucking amazing time to come back. Stupid piece of fucking... Hello and hey, this is Zero Goken Reviews, and today we'll be looking at the Figma. Stillful.
Yee boy!
I honestly don't know that much about this character. I know he's from Fate, and originated in Fate Apocrypha, a light novel that I refuse to read, that was adapted to an anime that I refuse to watch. He also shows up in F-Go, as well as Learning with Manga, which is a gift on God's Earth. Also Fate Extella Link, which is one of those trashy Warriors-type games, and I actually really like that one. But really, most of what I know about this character are from the, various fan materials.
My life is cringe. That is a nice box.
Wait, what does Rider of Black mean?
Rider of quote-unquote black.
Oh.
Oh.
He's a writer.
OL chat. Watch one of Will McDaniel's videos after the trap review.
As in, he rides a hippogriff, and he wears black. Let's take this beautiful boy out of the... And he rides a hippogriff, and he wears black.
Oh, money shot.
Let's take this beautiful boy out of the box.
Boy, you can tell he's excited to open it.
And right off the bat, I'm having a problem.
Donk.
Guess what it is? Well, it turns out that on my copy of the figure, the boots are not symmetrical. This side is lower than the other. Luckily, it's not that big of a deal, since I can take this one off and fix it. The design is basically Pink Jean with,
Pink
DLC.
Jean, yes.
This is Fate at its fadiest. You can usually expect this from them. Honestly, I'm just glad that it's not another bloody Figma Saber.
Yes, fuck Saber.
We need other characters, especially my girl. And with the movie, I'm hoping that that might actually happen. Please, Figma. As far as looks go,
I love this
cute.
guy. I'm gonna have to subscribe.
What?
Bro, that's kind of gay.
No, and I don't care. Yeah, screw you too.
You get to
Anyway,
breath.
the paint is very clean, with quite minimal mishaps overall. They did a fantastic job of adapting this design to figure form, which I believe is based off the anime. And to be honest, I originally wasn't overly keen on this character's design. I just thought he was decently cute, and that's about it. But now that I have this figure right in front of me, he's quite adorable, and I have no idea what I was thinking back then. But I give this an 8 out of 10. I'm very biased, and I couldn't care
He's oh my god,
Actually,
he's turning gay. The big suck is getting to him.
I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Minus 10 out of 10, worst Figma. How do you even explain this? You could probably explain the penis, but what about the balls? I think there's a limit to how small they can be, so immersion shattered. What the hell, Max Factory? Okay, you could probably explain like this, I guess, but...
Yes, finally fixed.
It's fairly standard Figma stuff, so I'll keep it brief. These are panties, aren't they?
Yeah, the way his head fully rotates. Bend. Uh-oh.
OL chap. Please watch one of Will McDaniel's videos. I want to see your genuine reaction to them. Lenolau.
2 additional faceplates, 7 additional optional hands. Sword hilt.
Is there one you recommend?
Are you feeling lonely and bored during social distancing in your lockdown bunker? Struggling to stay motivated to write that 500-page erotic fantasy novel you promised yourself you would? Well, say hello to the all-new Lockdown Buddy by FAPS. The Lockdown Buddy comes with everything you need to remain happy and safe in these troubling times. Are you feeling sluggish?
Yeah, the generic squelching noise kind of ruins it, because it's like, how is it making that noise? It's like flexing its neck? How?
Nice, gentle
you gotta have like a creaky, cracky noise.
Feeling hungry after all that exercise? Have no fear, the Lockdown Buddy is here to help with their multi-purpose utility backholes. Watch as your new friend births you some much-needed supplies from one of
yeah, after seeing Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, this just feels like, it's okay, but...
Now that you're well
I don't know, it's like...
You're probably in need of
it's
some
not committed
social
to being gross enough.
Because of social distancing? Well, keep that chin up.
It feels like it wants to flirt with it, but not, like, really engage in being something unnerving. So it doesn't have that effect of being jarring. It's like, oh, this is more funny than anything.
Whisper the name of the friend you want to see, and drop in a sample of their DNA.
Yeah, it's like really one note, because it's just designed to be like offensively gross, and I don't know, Cronenberg did it better. Like, he had more mucus and things spewing out, so it's like, the effort is good, but he needs a little more special effects to make it work, kinda. It's promising, but... yeah, it just ends up feeling like kind of a student film. Like, you know when you see a student like make a sculpture and it's like
no toilet paper either because of those
not quite there, but you can see there's something good.
Your new buddy can help you out yet again. Just go ahead and pull his tail.
Yeah, anyways, this is one note and I'm bored. 3 out of 10, I guess. I can see why people like it, but yeah, after watching Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, it just kind of feels... what's the word to describe it? It's like, you know how when Star Wars was really big, everybody was making Star Wars movies to copy that idea, and there wasn't really any novelty to see it because you'd already seen the concept sort of done, and when you kind of already can tell the concept isn't going to expand on that, but sort of be a familiar thing, but with the same old stuff, it's like... I don't know, it's hard to be interested in, like, okay, let's get on the Ferris wheel again, up and down, round and round we go. I know how this ride goes, okay, I'll pretend to smile, yay.
Lance, book. What is this doing here? It doesn't come with a figure.
Oops.
Unfortunately. And a cape. Putting in the faceplate works the same as most Figmas. Just remove this front piece and tab in the faceplate.
Now this is actually disturbing.
Aside from the smiling face, you get this cute winky
oh my
face
god!
And this cute angry face.
I tabbed back to this.
I would like if he came with one of these. I like what he
from
comes
something
with,
that was supposed to be terrifying to something unintentionally
Hands also
terrifying.
Work the same as usual Figmas, except for unlike older Figmas, it's actually
That's just my opinion.
Remove the hands, and you just need to plug in any of these. These are pretty decent. I don't really
Double
have any
V
complaints.
sign.
For the sword, remove the grip. The sword goes
Double
into
V
the
sign.
weapon
Oh
as
no!
Such, and it can't fit into the scabbard. So that's why we have this hilt. As long as you properly plug it in, actually, it stays in pretty good. If not, it's kind of annoying. The lance works.
Oh my god! Seeing that hilt reminds me of
probably compensate.
Oh, what was that? Keijo sword butt? Let me see if I can find a picture here of it. So Keijo, if you don't know, is a series that's basically like Dragon Ball Z, but with asses. And there's one character who actually has, like, a sword, like,
watch cute dogs.
in her butt. Oh, what was her name? Tsurugi, I think. Yeah, this girl. But where's a picture? I don't know if they'll have a picture of it in her butt. Oh, here we go. See how well this shows up. Let me see, is that showing up? Yeah, there, you guys can see that, right? You see what's going on here. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that thing. It's like, that's wedged in there.
Not really. Zoom it.
Zoom in and focus. Okay, 1 second. Hold on. Zoom in. Look at that. Look at that. Thing is right in her buttocks. Oh yeah, and she has like the weird double eye color thing. That's in her butt. That is in her butt. Oh wait, let me adjust this. There, now you can see. So yeah, go read Keijo. It's a good series.
Lenolau. Why do you watch manga of girls putting swords up their asses, Kyonko?
I don't watch it intentionally. It's just something that kind of happened in what I thought was a wholesome series about, you know, girls with just fighting for prize championships.
Lenolau. Is there something you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, it has a very diverse cast of girls, surprisingly. I thought it was going to be a lot more, like, sexual based, but it's actually, like, strangely empowering because the whole concept is, like, they're proud of having sexy bodies that are strong, and you make a lot of money if you do this, so it's, like, a way to be an entrepreneur, and a lot of them go on to, like, start their own businesses and stuff after they finish the butt wrestling matches. So it's like weird because it's like, yeah, we know what we're doing, and you know what? We're going to subvert your expectations by being wholesome. And these girls are, it's weird because I was expecting a lot more objectification, and it just never really happened. Like, it felt more like reading Dragon Ball Z. Like, they have training arcs for their butts, basically. And it's pretty magical. Also, the OP is really good. Here, we'll watch eliminations after the OP. See, I'm probably safe from DMCAs if I watch anime, because I don't think Universal is worried about their music in that, maybe? Like, I don't know what more to sell you guys on this. It's fighting with butts and boobs, and it's amazing. That drum drop is pretty intense, though.
You are defending the show about girls throwing their butts and tits around.
Okay, but look at a butt. What is it shaped like? It's shaped like a heart. So really, they're fighting with their hearts. Butts. Butts. Oh yeah, and only women can participate, so that's sexist.
OL chap. You should watch Trial by Teku. It's an animation based off the Matanui online game.
The butt floats to the top first. They got their they got their priorities down.
Lenalao. You should watch Emergency Metamorphosis. It's a series about a girl in a fantasy futuristic world.
She just like freaking broke their necks with her boobs. After image ass boobs.
OL chat.
I'm sorry, but what more?
About a show where men fight with their bulge.
Are you not entertained? Is this not what you came here for? The series is just so pure. It knows what it is.
I think it already exists. It was a YAOI.
She got her butt clobbered. Boom! I love the butt wiggle.
OL chat, let's make a fight. I'll use hands and you'll use pads.
I'll use...
Ergo Foxy. Hey.
Hey, Ergo Foxy. Awesome. That's so nice of you to show up.
Lenolao.
We're watching girls fight with their butts.
Ergo Foxy. 0/I am up to 5 followers.
Nice.
Ergo Foxy. Nice.
What am I seeing here? She literally has a rubber butt. Too soft for you.
Why the fuck am I enjoying this?
Because it's so ridiculous.
I'm slightly disappointed in you, Kyonko. What have you been watching? Instead not watching a show where girls fight with their butts, just watch Star Wars, the Clone Wars SMH.
Just the lines of dialogue you get in this show are just 10 out of 10.
I saw Parasite. It was really good. Ergo Foxy. But this is better.
Well, I don't want to watch too much of it in case I get DMCA'd for it, so... I gotta find things that I can be kind of sure aren't gonna get, copy struck or stuff.
Lenolau. Watch Simp. Ergo Foxy. If I put on music my computer crashes, so that has worked out for me. Lenolau. Watch Squirrels in My Pants.
Oh, that's what you meant by... Oh, that's definitely gonna get DMCA'd. Yeah, I definitely can't watch that. Yeah, no, anything Disney is pretty off limits. Thank you, wonderful gods of YouTube and Twitter for bending your ass over for the mouse. Actually, now that you brought it up, let's see. You guys see that video about how Kimba the lion ripped off the Lion King, not the other way around like people think?
And he gets bullied.
No.
Kimba the White Lion is one of the most bizarre and insane things I've ever
So
watched.
this is 2 hours. I'm not going to make you guys... I don't know, we'll watch it and we'll see how far we get, but I don't expect you guys to watch the full 2 hours.
My thoughts on the controversy between Kimba and the Lion King,
But
I figured it would be appropriate to include
this guy
a little
deserves
Kimba
all
segue
the
in
attention
review.
for this.
What I didn't know at the time was just how much I would eventually want to say about it. Boy, was I ever naive. So here's a separate video for the Kimba controversy that would be way too long to fit into the Lion King video. Kimba the White Lion was created by Osamu Tezuka. It started as a manga in the year 1950
Osamu
by the
Tezuka!
Jungle Emperor. Tezuka is basically the Walt Disney of Japan.
So volume and everything is good, right? Like,
and anime that we see today.
there's
Tezuka
no
himself
clicks,
was
there's
largely inspired
no...
by Disney films like Bambi and
Like when I
Dumbo,
talk, my
and
mic is loud enough that you can hear it over the video, but it's not overlapping, drowning each other out, right?
Today. Tezuka was very open about where his inspirations came from and
Okay,
how it
good.
influenced his works, and this is partially why the Lion King controversy picked up so much steam. Tezuka actually passed away in early 1989, 5
Rest
years
in
before
peace.
The Lion King was actually released. So although he was never able to comment on the controversy at all, those who took it upon themselves to speak for him were upset that Disney never even so much as credited him as an inspiration. And of course they should, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious that
But yeah, the other thing
Lion
too
was
is I want to
used
keep
as
the
a
screen,
blueprint for
like the video
production of The
screen
Lion
I'm watching
King,
stuff
and if
on
that's
kind of
not
small.
true, then that would mean that all of these
Because
popular YouTube videos on the subject were misleading people into believing that
it sort of helps with the argument that I'm not just...
Well, after thoroughly watching through
what do you call it?
researching Kimba, I can definitively
Just
say
trying to
that
get
you
views
have
off other
been
people's
lied
content.
to.
Like this
You
way,
have
if
been
people want to see a
manipulated
good
to
quality
such a
video,
degree
they'll
that
actually
there are
go
going to
watch
be
it on
people in
YouTube.
this comment section white knighting for Kimba who haven't even watched it. And it absolutely baffles me that there are so many people out there that will passionately defend an opinion that is not even their own. Now, I'm sure many of you are currently thinking, wait a minute,
Catboy Milk
I've
is
seen these other
it's already
comparison
here, man.
videos on
Look.
YouTube from people who
See?
have watched Kimba and they look
You got
exactly the same.
Catboy Milk, you got Black Milk, you got Foxboy Milk, and you got Dairy Milk.
Simba 2019. As you can see, there are a lot of similar shots here.
He has the power of anime and God on his side, man. Don't mess with him.
Shut case. Even if all of these shots were taken from random points in the Kimba movie,
Actually, do you
form-fitting towards the narrative happening in The Lion King, there are still far too
Oh, right, I
many
gotta be on Twitch to
similarities
do
call
that.
it a coincidence, right? Well, you might want to reconsider that thought, because if you believe that, then you are inadvertently admitting that you believe
Excuse
that
me.
Kimba the White Lion ripped off The Lion King. What this incredibly misleading and dishonest video failed to mention is that nearly...
What's
Sorry.
Catboy Milk?
I'm just gonna do something real quick, and then I'll get back to the video. Video.
OL chap. Harry and Hermione are black and Ron was gay. Ergo Foxy. Supposedly everyone can give milk. Lenolau. It's true, JK said it.
I want to make you a mod, Ergo Foxy, but I don't know... How do I do that? I think you have to you accept my friend request, and then I can add you as mod.
Ergo Foxy. Okay.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, yeah, you should have mod powers now, so...
Lenolau. I reported him by accident. Sorry.
Don't. Be nice to each other, guys. Okay.
Every single shot from the Kimba footage being shown here is from the 1997
I'm scared about tomorrow
Kimba film,
because there's a
3 years after
there's a
The
heat
Lion
warning,
King.
heat
Now,
advisory in effect
thinking,
tomorrow.
what if these shots
It's going to
just
get up
based
to
off of
feeling like 40
similar-looking
degrees
shots from earlier in the
Celsius
Kimba
tomorrow.
series pre-1994. Well, joke's on you, because I did my research and it's not there. I even went through the manga, which supposedly this film is based on the second half of, and yeah, it's not there either. It was mostly just blackface. You have been lied to. Now, this whole controversy
Yeah, that's what you really want to put your chips down on, is the manga series that features blackface in it.
Animated lions, and decides that they can just rip the whole thing off and sell it to Americans, and no one will ever notice because Disney's evil. And don't get me wrong, I hate Disney too.
Wait, why would I die?
They made in terms of addressing this controversy.
I can't die. I just became manager at Femboy Hooters. We're expanding into MILF Denny's, and we just opened a goth IHOP. So, you know, we're rolling in business right now.
But I do not understand for the life
What would be
of
a
me
good
why the
restaurant
Kimba crowd feels the
game
need to
we could
support their
play
arguments with
that we could
comparisons
call
that
our
go
restaurant
beyond the
Femboy
realm of
Hooters?
reason?
Does anybody know a good restaurant game where you
3
can
million
name a
views is from
restaurant
a Kimba
or a business
fan
or
channel.
something?
Within this video, they compare footage and production images from both The Lion King and Kimba. And wouldn't you know it, a heavy amount of the Kimba footage being used is from the 1997 Jungle Emperor Leo movie, 3 years after The Lion King. They even used shots from a Kimba short film from the year 2000. Whether or not the original intent of this video was to make people believe an exaggerated version of the controversy, its presentation and
So yeah, this is like mind-blowing. Like, people make this argument, and then the clips they use
why people should avoid having strong opinions
are
on
from
subjects
something
that they
totally
haven't done
different.
their
And I'm
own
guilty of this.
research
I
on.
believe the
Every
same
time
thing,
have a
right? I thought
conversation with someone about
Kimba,
Kimba
Simba,
controversy, it
that's
seems as
too
though
much
they
of a
believe that
coincidence.
Kimba is a single film from the 1960s.
But to some people, The Lion King came across as an obvious ripoff of the Japanese film Kimba the White Lion. This movie, which is based off a manga series by Osamu Tezuka, first aired in 1965, decades before The Lion King hit the big screen.
And although, yes, there is a 1966 film, that doesn't even come close to covering the scope of just how much
Also, is there-
Kimba there
The
is. There's the 52
One day there
episode
is
series
snow
from
and others it's hotter than the
1965,
sun.
and after the
Is there some
1966
subtext
film,
to
there's
the King of the
26
Jungle
episode
being
TV series the
a
same
white
year,
lion
52
who's
episode series
different from a
1989,
standard lion,
1991
possibly
straight-to-video
suggesting
film with
he's
no
a
dialogue. There's the
superior type of
1997
lion?
film. There's the short film from the year 2000, and finally there's a 2009 made-for-TV movie. Now, when you lie by omission and package this controversy in a way where it seems like you're comparing one 90
Like when he has white, if he's white and blue eyes, it's like that's suspicious. But he's white. If he's white with red eyes, then it's like, oh, okay, that's
Unfortunately, what the vast majority of people don't
albinoism.
realize is that we're comparing a 90-minute film to well over 3,000 minutes of Kimba footage. And the similarities that do exist between the
3,000 minutes of Kimba footage.
Kimba
Oh
are
wow.
so incredibly selective. It is an unfair comparison, to say the
Ergo
least.
Foxy.
There is so much blatant
Bob R. studied in
misinformation
Europe,
about
so
this
he was
controversy,
civilized.
and it only thrives because people are stupid and don't do their own fucking research.
Oh,
A
yeah.
viral Twitter
That's
thread
right.
with 20,000 retweets claims that Disney was in talks with Tezuka to adapt The Lion King before he died, and then they just took the idea and ran with it. That is not true. There is zero evidence for that claim. Why are you saying it? I am not joking. Try and find a single source for this. It doesn't exist. Now I'm going to go through each of the comparison arguments between Kimba and the Lion King that exist, but first I feel like I should make my stance on this clear. What I am presenting to you is an anti-absolutist perspective, meaning I believe that it is very likely that individuals who worked on the Lion King had in fact seen Kimba before, and I also believe that it is entirely possible that individuals who worked on the Lion King were
It's just such a weird concept
Kimba.
that people have that the only place proper civilization originates from is, you know, anywhere. Whether it's, you know, India, China, Africa, Europe, like, we're kind of all in this together. Like, Europe conquered a lot of the world by using gunpowder, which was invented in China, imported to them by the Mongols, the techniques mastered by the Hungarian Black Army, and then adopted by the British Navy, which had to coincide with, you know, naval boat development as well.
Kimba? What are the odds of that?
There are quite a few
And the reason naval boats
developed
developed kind of the way they did was because they wanted to have cannons on them, so they got to be these big, bulky,
what you did not bother to research is that
kind of massive wooden vessels compared to earlier, smaller
Kimba
ships.
is only known as Kimba in the American adaptation of the anime. They wanted to change his name from Leo for whatever reason, and were originally going to call him Simba, but decided that that name isn't as marketable.
But Jacques heard the name Simba and was told by me that it's a Swahili name. But Liebenkuhl said, well, Fred, here's the problem. If you tell me that it's a generic name, it's a name you hear any time in Africa, it's not a name we can protect. And if we want to merchandise the character, we can't just say Simba. Anybody can.
The Japanese have very high porn technology.
The name Simba would exist regardless of whether or not Kimba was a thing, and this is supported by the fact that all of the other characters' names in The Lion King follow the exact same motif. Mufasa means king, Nala means gift, Rafiki means friend, Pumbaa means slow-witted, and so on. To act as though the name Simba is out of the ordinary here is delusional. There was a Nazi fighter pilot that had a pet lion named Simba, so this is clearly not something that Kimba the White Lion invented. There's even a documentary from 1928 called Simba the King of Beasts.
Kimba? Simba? Suspicious.
Now, when I say that comparing a 90-minute film to over 3,000 minutes worth of Kimba is unfair, here's what I mean. Many in the Kimba crowd include comparisons like there being a comic relief warthog sidekick character, as if you're not allowed to use African animals in a story that takes place in Africa. But what these people don't tell you is that this warthog is not a main character at all. This warthog only exists in one episode in the original series, and they are nothing like Pumbaa at all. Gargoyle G. Warthog is a child who has mommy issues, and he's sad because he thinks his warts are ugly, and his mom thinks that he's a coward. He spends a significant amount of the episode trying to get with this other warthog girl that he thinks is pretty, but that girl's mom doesn't like him because she thinks warts are ugly.
What are you doing with that ugly boy? How many times have I told you, don't play with boys with warts?
Sorry, I had to go make a coffee.
Like he's got this weird pain fetish, and it's
I didn't think I needed your permission to do that, Mom.
Going for here.
If you just can't keep from fighting, please don't hit each other. Why don't you hit me instead? Huh? Excuse me, but you shouldn't hurt your baby. But he deserves a good spanking.
Why don't you hit me instead? That's going in the Kyonkochan quotes.
I'm with you, boy.
Oh man.
So in the middle of the episode, the animals decide that they're going to give a medal for the
Well, we definitely know this is Japanese because it just crossed some borders into hentai.
G. Warthog decides to attack some mean baboons in order to prove that he's brave so he can get the medal. So at the end of the episode, they give him the medal, and then the girl's mom starts liking him, and then everything's okay, and it's all wrapped up, and then we never see this fucking character again. And here's what's really important to understand about this series.
There's something I really like about a lot of this old anime, and it's like minimalism. Sure, what do you want to watch?
Constantly changing ideas and introducing new characters. So when people make comparisons between the themes of Kimba and The Lion King, they're mostly just picking from random points in the show. The themes of
you guys want to watch some Legal Eagle?
Coming in loud and clear thanks to Ting Mobile.
Ting.
President Trump's photo op at St. John's Church in front of Lafayette Square, which resulted in peaceful protests.
Yeah, there's a strange orange critter in it. That's sort of like a hamster, right?
Outline his response to the protests that have roiled this nation. President Trump threatened to take dramatic action to quell the protests, including invoking the Insurrection Act of 1807, which allegedly would allow him to deploy the military to crack down on protesters and rioters. President Trump did not officially invoke the Insurrection Act, but he did use his unique authority within the district to make a serious show of force. In recent days, for reasons that should be relatively obvious, people have debated how much authority the president has to use the military for civilian law enforcement purposes. And in addition to the Insurrection Act, you've probably heard people mention the Posse Comitatus Act and claim that the president actually doesn't have authority to invoke the armed forces in riots and protests. Well, I'm here to deliver the sobering news that the president actually has a lot of authority to use the military against
People gonna believe you don't have viewers.
But whether he can do it and whether he should do it are two completely separate issues.
Well, then I guess you guys are going to have to go out and find viewers.
Lawyer, because I can personally confirm that there are a lot of American troops
have the silent majority
operating on American soil as we speak.
I mean, I'm okay with that. We'll just slowly grow to like a small base of people that, you know, really enjoy hanging out watching stuff. I don't need to have 100 viewers doing nothing.
You can go there at lawfareblog.com. I highly recommend it. So let's start with the Posse Comitatus Act. Does it stop the president from using the military domestically? Now, it's easy to confuse the Insurrection Act of 1807 with the Posse Comitatus.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. I like being here with you guys. You guys make my day.
Using the military in domestic matters. And there's some truth to it, but it's largely false. Section 1385 of Title 18 of the U.S. Code states, whoever, except in cases under circumstances expressly authorized by the Constitution.
No homo. Unless you want homo, then okay, maybe a little homo.
As a posse comitatus, or otherwise to execute the laws, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more.
We'll do a Killer Bean movie night sometime. But if we're gonna watch that, then we can probably get a bunch of people on board for it. So we'll try and set it up a little more.
Or something in the Constitution that allows it. And this is one of those situations where the exception predominates
why don't
the rule.
people accept
and generally,
that
the Posse
women are the
Comitatus Act
best?
prevents the military from participating in traditional law enforcement activities. However, Congress has enacted many exceptions.
Some
to
parents
PCA to
drop their kids on their heads, and that leads to a thing called brain damage.
For example, the Department of Defense can provide some support.
That's the best explanation I can offer.
Battling drug crimes and organized crime. The military may also defend their own bases and property. It's one of those instances where the exceptions tend to swallow the rule. It's kind of like the rule against hearsay. Sure, there's a general rule against hearsay being admissible in court, but frankly, there are so many different exceptions that it's actually the rarity where you can't get the hearsay admitted into court as evidence.
Actually, real talk, like,
have you noticed
yes.
The only ones with the good-looking small bras.
I was gonna say, like, Japan has awesome bras. Bras and panties. Like, they just, I like the designs. They're cute. They're soft. They're comfy.
Now, before the president can invoke the Insurrection Act, he, quote, must first issue a proclamation ordering the insurgents to disperse within...
And then I see, like, American, Western, European lingerie bras and panties, and it's like, ew, I don't want to look like a whore.
It's important to note that the Insurrection Act actually dates back to
because they are. They're like, they're a lot more cotton, and they're stretchier, and they're not designed to emphasize, like, having a super butt as much as, like, being nice and comfy and warm.
Given that in the modern era, every state and every municipality has a police department, one might question the utility of having the Insurrection Act remaining on the books. Now, the oldest section of this law is Section 254, which was enacted in 1792 to give George Washington authority to call forth the militia to repel invasion.
You know you're stretching when you got to reach back to 1792 to set a precedent.
Congress was initially reluctant to grant even Washington this authority, so they required that he would first need to give insurgents a warning to disperse. And although President Trump has explicitly threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act,
if a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
To date, it's not clear
that sends chills down my spine.
As a proclamation required under this act. Section 251 of the Insurrection Act deals with federal aid for state governments. It combines two
Something
laws
about
from the
hearing
earliest days of the Republic.
those
One
words
was a law
come
used to
from a
suppress the
president's
whiskey
mouth
monopolies
is
in
just
2004. This was an uprising of farmers and
disturbing.
distillers who protested a federal whiskey tax. After years of protesters tarring and feathering tax collectors and destroying property, President Washington was given authority to call forth a militia upon the request of a governor or state legislature. The second part of this law was enacted in 1807 at the request of President Jefferson and allows a president to call up a standing army as well as the militia. Which brings us to Section 252, which regards the use of militia and armed forces to enforce federal authority. Section 252 was enacted in 1861 at the request of President Lincoln to increase presidential authority to use the militia and regular army to suppress insurrections. And
it's because the 5G is turning your kids gay.
The basis for waging the Civil War, and the law allows the president to use federal troops on his own initiative and act on his own judgment without having to wait for the
I like this guy's videos because, like,
in fact, you're seeing a lot of
he's
governors
pretty
on TV
liberal,
recently
but
stating that they are not going
that's
to
sort
request
of
federal troops
what
or
a good
federal aid
lawyer is he's always willing to fight for
most of the Insurrection Act. It doesn't require
the perspective people might overlook, in my opinion.
That brings us
you
to
know,
Section
sometimes.
253, interference with state and federal law. In 1869, Congress added Section 253 at the request of President Grant.
It's kind of weird when you think about how many resources and time were spent pouring into
Section 253 states, quote, "The president, by using the militia or the armed forces or both, or by any other means, shall take such measures as he considers necessary to suppress in a state any insurrection, domestic
Oh, that
violence,
reminds me.
conspiracy, if it,
Let me see if I can find
one,
this.
hinders the execution of the laws of that state and of the United States within the state, then any part or class of its people is deprived of a right, privilege, immunity, or protection named in the Constitution and secured by law, and the Constitution."
Okay, I'm going to see if I can find this TV show that starred Bruce Campbell.
Right, privilege, or immunity,
And it's set in, like, early America, and he's like a secret agent, and it's amazing. And I'm pretty sure it's safe to watch.
He was a lawyer who defended the Boston Massacre.
Authority, and that in
I remember
a situation
that part
where
of
you
the
have
seriators.
peaceful protesters and rioting and looting going on at the exact same
Well,
time,
a massacre can be a matter of perspective.
the unlawful
I said that wrong, no.
Keep in mind how many things that the indigenous people consider massacres in American history textbooks are called the American Indian Wars. You know, they weren't massacres, they were wars against people who, you know, deserved to be conquered, who
came back into session and then had to approve the use of the military. Now, those two restrictions on the Insurrection Act sunsetted out and no longer are part of the act and no longer act as a check against use of military personnel.
Bastin.
So when has the Insurrection Act exception been used to posse comitatus? Now, although the Insurrection Act has not been used frequently, presidents have invoked it to enforce the law, especially when racial equality is at stake. In 1957, President Eisenhower called on the U.S. Army's 101st Airborne Division to safely escort 9 black students into Little Rock Central High School after the Arkansas governor, Orville Faubus, had called on the Arkansas National Guard to stop the students from integrating the school.
Crazy to think.
President Kennedy invoked the act in 1962 and 1963 to send federal troops to Mississippi and Alabama to enforce civil
It's crazy to think that the last presidents before Trump used this was to support black rights.
Between police and residents after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. And in 1992, President H.W. Bush responded to a request from Governor Pete Wilson of California to quell rioting in Los Angeles after the acquittal of the 4 LAPD officers who brutally beat Rodney King.
There are 3,000 National Guardsmen on duty in the city of Los Angeles, and let me assure you, I will use whatever force is necessary to restore
We're
order.
not really political.
So in modern times, the presidential use of the Insurrection Act has generally been used to enforce civil rights and
Like, I'm not political, I just can't stand letting
been used in ways that most people
guys who are so far right or left that they can't function have a platform. It's like, no, shut the fuck up. You're wrong. Here's evidence why. go learn how to research and leave us adults to actually fix the world.
Regarding integration of students. And in that example, he certainly did not
It's like
want
anybody who can't be mature enough to compromise and reach across the aisle and work with people who they disagree with on, 2% of things, but agree with on 98% of things.
Racial injustice.
Like,
And there's probably one other historical example that is incredibly relevant, and that was the federal government's response to Hurricane Katrina. When the levees in Louisiana broke, the state and federal government were slow to respond to the enormous logistical challenges and humanitarian.
What a shit show. That should have been a wake-up call for people to realize how diseased the American, response to disaster was.
Minesweeper violated the Geneva
Congress
Convention.
amended the Insurrection Act to clarify the circumstances that would justify the use of
in convention, that
lets the president use the military to
that S should be a
restore, order,
T.
and enforce the federal laws if there is a natural disaster, epidemic, or terrorist act. Though ultimately the Bush administration decided not to invoke the Insurrection Act in support of humanitarian efforts regarding Katrina. And it's
children should run
to
government.
Talk about the
they basically don't see different races, so they can't be racist.
The law itself has been pretty
yes and no, because
but it's revealing the presidents have been reluctant
it depends on the adults, because a lot of adults no, you're right that kids aren't racist, but if they're set up in an environment where parents subtly encourage racism, kids tune into that really quick, and they can be even worse than adults. So it's like kids don't inherently have racism, but once they catch on, boy, is like kid-on-kid racism just nasty.
Requiring a national response. And that also involves the difference between norms and laws. First, the American people have traditionally been very wary about military operating on U.S. soil. This, in turn, has made the military wary of being deployed for civilian matters, and there are
not
very
like race,
good policy reasons that should probably be pretty obvious as to why you don't want a military doing law enforcement activity, why you want a strong separation between a military that's trained to kill and a police force that is trained to serve and protect. And second, the Bush administration had a significant debate about
it's hard to believe that, like, only 6 months ago, Trump was tweeting about how Hong Kong and Iran needs to stop using violent force against protesters.
Where the president hears from stakeholders about the pros and cons of using the military. That doesn't mean the president lacks the power to use the military or enforce the law. On the contrary, the president clearly has the discretion to involve the military in civilian affairs under these different acts, even if the governors don't ask for help. But rather, it signals that, at least in modern times, we've had presidents who thought about what the governors might want, how the people might react, and whether a military response would actually make things worse. And it's hard not to think about the historical example of Caesar crossing the Rubicon, that sometimes the norms involving the lack of participation by the military
Alea iacta est, the die is cast.
Into Rome, that norm exists for a very, very good reason. And it's also probably worth pointing out that the Posse Comitatus Act, in conjunction with the Insurrection Act, contemplate that the president is going to faithfully execute the laws. And on that basis, the president probably has a lot of discretion to use the military to
it's like
riots.
everything with the presidency is set up under the assumption that we'll never elect a total asshole, right? Like, we can't really get an evil asshole in there, right? Like, we're smart enough for that.
When the president mentioned invoking the Insurrection Act, that while he was giving his speech in the Rose Garden, that he or Bill Barr gave orders to clear out the protesters in Lafayette Square so that the president
Actually, there was a video of Quackity where he made a video where kids made their own governments.
The president's impromptu
Ergo
walk,
Foxy.
the U.S. Federal Park
Benjamin
Police
Franklin, presidential circle jerk.
Bruh, Benjamin Franklin is the best Frenchman to ever live.
All this happened before the 7 p.m. curfew. And, of course, the right to
it's kind of funny because, in hindsight, the only reason we know so much about Benjamin Franklin
in Washington, D.C., which is to be expected. This is, after all, this
all on Roblox.
Shit, what was I gonna say?
to peaceably assemble is part of the First Amendment. This is part of the freedom of expression that all Americans enjoy. Protests are a way of life in Washington, D.C., which is to be expected. This is, after all, the seat of government. But it doesn't mean that President Trump's actions on Monday were necessarily illegal in the strictest sense. Over the last several decades, courts have allowed government to make more restrictions on the time, place, and manner of protests, as long as those restrictions are what's called content neutral. And you can imagine how some of these laws conflict with individual citizens' right to First Amendment activity, to petition the government, to peaceably
Yeah, it's like a pretty weird time to argue about the right to free speech when we literally just saw people dispersed for being nonviolent.
Or destroy private property, or stop the president from going somewhere he wants to go. But you can also imagine how some of these laws might be used as a pretext to quell First Amendment expressive activity. And one of the things that made President Trump's actions so incendiary is that he wasn't on his way to the Capitol to meet with Congress, nor was he doing anything strictly.
I mean, just the love Trump gives to Fox News should be evidence enough about how he feels about free speech.
Appears to be used for his re-election campaign that wasn't planned out and specifically conflicted with the protesters who were already there and were already protesting peaceably.
Like, part of me thinks he didn't even plan to do it as a show of force. He literally just thought of it last minute.
That are written into the law.
And everybody, like usual, has to scramble and be like, fuck, how do we work our way around this idiotic decision?
Such a bumbling example of a pretext used to evacuate people exercising their First Amendment.
Oh yeah, and this guy, Mr. Legal Eagle, if you will, he actually lives in Washington, D.C., so this is hitting close to home for him.
D.C. and the rest of the country. Even President Nixon never placed soldiers at the foot of the Lincoln Memorial, blocking the American people from accessing one of its most significant memorials, which we have seen that the Trump administration has done. And it's been a long time since all of Lafayette Square and such a significant portion of downtown Washington, D.C. has been completely locked off from protesters or even tourists. I participated in the Women's March in 2017.
For real,
there were
Parasite
tens
was a
of
good
thousands,
movie.
if not hundreds of thousands of people who were allowed to walk right in front of the White House. And even that wouldn't be available based on what's going on right now. And in fact, in a direct historical parallel, when mass
I just hope people, like,
after students were killed by the National Guard at Kent State University,
I hope people are watching and paying attention, and that something in this resonates with people, not just for a day, not for a week, but for years and decades, and we go, you know, this was a moment we kind of tried to fix things.
Bro, imagine being able to fold your pizza.
The federal government
This
has
message was
authority
sent by
to
Chicago
use
gang.
federal troops and military police officers.
See, that's the weird thing, is if you're in Chicago, you should have hot dogs, not pizza.
Outside of the district.
I think, is that Chicago that's well known for hot dogs? Like, don't they have a good, like a really good style of hot dog?
Parasite is a movie about.
But as things stand, it's up in the air. It's not clear that the president has actually invoked.
Remember how everyone was pissed off about
Secretary of
Parasite
Defense
winning
Mike
Best
Esper
Picture
has
because it
voiced his
wasn't an
opinion that the
English
president
movie?
Should not, in fact, invoke the
Ergo
Insurrection
Foxy.
Act and should
Two
refrain
families,
from using the
a
U.S.
rich one, a
military
really
to
poor
conduct
one.
law enforcement and
Ergo
anti-riot
Foxy.
actions.
Yay.
The option to use active duty forces.
And meanwhile, I'm sitting there like,
should only be
dudes,
used as a matter of
like,
last resort.
how are
And
you only
in
now
most
realizing
urgent
how
and
little
dire of
the Best Picture
situations?
Academy Award actually means?
We are
Like,
not
one,
in one
just
of
because
those
Parasite won it
situations now.
doesn't mean there are no other good movies that year. There's still
Commentary
tons of other great movies. Two, the whole endorsement of the Academy Awards is bullshit to begin with, because it's just what rich Hollywood moviegoers like. It doesn't reflect actual, you know, movies that resonate with people. Like, it doesn't have any reflection on a movie that, you know, a black kid or an Asian kid or an indigenous kid or anyone else is going to see. All it reflects is what, like, this demographic of guys and girls who go to movies all the time feel about movies. It's movie snobbery,
You can
really.
use Ting Mobile and save some money. And as a bonus, the call with your civil rights lawyer will be these or any other carrier trip.
21st century humor meme is all about satirizing the fact that the attempts to make memes more and more ironic have led to an almost incomprehensible mess of inside jokes and cynical humor that has lost all meaning.
This is exactly this is
their ability to take tons
this
of
is what I
relevant
talk
audio and
about all
video
the
clips from
time.
current memes and turn them into a rapid-fire garbled mess. Whilst over-the-top compilations like this have existed for a long time on spaces like Arab Funny, it would appear one of the first instances of it being labelled as specifically 21st century humour was by YouTube user Every Fanatic on April 30th this year. But as always, if you know someone who did it earlier, please comment below. Essentially, these short compilations take tons of
I'm just
popular
like
memes and
I'm
squeeze
glad
them
someone's
together
put a
into short
name
video
to it because
reminiscent of
like
something like Google Dreams. Large sections of meme culture have turned to repeating a dead meme over and over again until it becomes ironically funny. Not because of its original message, but because it's ironic. And whilst this is one of the best things about meme culture, as it evolves so rapidly that you see bizarre and surreal content being used in ways you'd never expect, sometimes it can be truly exhausting. Much of these tropes come from shitposting, which is characterized by overly loud noises, shock humor, explosions, and poor image quality. These tropes have artistic merit on their own and exist for a reason. They satirize much of the content commonly seen on the internet, but when you start to see the parodies themselves far too often, they lose what makes them special and unique. It's no secret that memes tend to spring up and die off way faster than they used to 10 years ago, mostly due to the fact that information and ideas can be shared and created way faster than they ever used to be. As a result, there has been plenty of recognition of that fact, and many people lament that they can't possibly keep up with the enormous amount of content being poured out every second. So essentially, combining slapstick sound effects more likely seen in something like America's Funniest Home Videos, with memes that are more often used to satirize
is this like
that
scene in Shrek Forever where the one kid just keeps asking Shrek to roar?
Neatly puts a critical lens on the current state of meme culture and how exhausting it can be when everyone is trying to ironically one-up everyone else. However, even though one can realize its satirical merit, this meme works so well because, well, it still hits that 21st century sense of humor. What meme would you guys like me to give a lesson in next? Let me know in the comments below.
And remember, like and subscribe!
Kyonko reacts to Kyonko.
Or else.
Ergo Foxy. Tinenko reacting to Kyonko racing Tinenko reacting Tinenko reacting.
So yeah, this is Kyonkochan dancing.
OL chat. Kyonko reacts to Kyonko moment.
Like, now I realize the ponytail, the side bangs. They're really influenced by Kyonkochan's haircut.
Clips. OL chap. Nenko moment.
What the heck? Who's this other Kyonkochan? What? There can't be more Kyonkos than me. That's impossible. Looks like most of them are just,
Ergo Foxy. There can only be one Kyonko. Lenolal. Kyonko moment. Ergo Foxy. Are these fan songs? Lenolal. React to your Twitch clips. React to your Twitch clips. You know the Twitch clips? React to them. Ergo Foxy. Kyonko react to the Twitch clips.
Oh, whoops. Who did I... Leno Lau. Okay, how do I unmute you?
OL chap. I'm going to make a Kyonko sing.
So yeah, don't text spam, please, or I will put you on mute for a bit as discipline. We're better than that. We don't have to abuse the text-to-speech thing. I hear it the first time, and it's just annoying if you just spam it. So stop it. Get help, please. So you heard that right, Leno Lau? So please don't spam things repeatedly like that, or I'll have to put you on mute for a bit. And I don't like doing that because it's like you only do it once or twice, but then it ruins it and it's annoying, and I have to set an example. Maybe this will be good. We've come full circle to Japan doing like outright Western style cartoons. This is wow. Is everything in 2020 going to just like be the opposite of what it was before?
Ergo Foxy. Play some Night Mind stuff. There was a really creepy Mo episode.
So, this is kind of weird because I think, honestly, this is doing Looney Tunes better than the new Looney Tunes reboot is.
Ergo Foxy. Oh wait, no, next. OL chat. Kyonko, you make my mind go
Okay,
bonzo.
see, that's what I'm talking about.
Kyonko, you like Orange Mouse Chonko. I'm a good guy, there is no lie. You're so cute, I want to make you a pie. Ergo Foxy. Cold in a dead mo. Ergo Foxy. https://www.youtube.com/watch v=p9lwzr_ibi. Leno Lau. LMAO.
You know what's funny is Mimikyu is actually cuter to me now than real Pikachu, because they changed Pikachu to have these like overly round cheeks now, and it looks weird. He looks like he has an inflated head. Uh-oh, I've got the weirdest boner right now. Did we start watching a hentai? Yep, there's inflation.
41. Funny cartoon.
I'm pretty sure whoever directed this probably played Cuphead a bit. Aww. Alright, let's see what you sent here, Ergo Foxy.
Leno Lau. 10 animators died making that short.
Continued and lost to the
Ergo Foxy. Some of these are creepy.
time that I've been here, it suddenly dawned on me that I'm visibly the new guy. Everyone here seems to know it. I'm not a regular. Tens. Rumors.
Is this creepypasta stuff? Is this like made up SCP?
Ergo Foxy. It's real.
Oh, maybe we'll watch it another time, but actually I think I'm probably going to end the stream because I'm tired and it's almost 2 o'clock. I don't know. Something about this is setting
Ergo
off like
Foxy.
a fake.
Some stuff on his channel is ARG, but some stuff is real.
Oh, let's see. What is he about?
Ergo Foxy. Okay. Leno Lau. How can you know this is real then?
I don't like, what do you call it? Spooky pasta or that SCP
document
stuff. And, I don't know. It feels too, what is it that I don't like about it? A lot of it feels like,
It's evidence-based.
well, you don't get defensive. I'm just,
Ergo Foxy. Leak, some of these were legit cults or unexplained.
yeah, well, now I'm kind of interested. We'll have to watch the video later and I'll have to dissect it and give my own thoughts on it.
Ergo Foxy. Oh, okay, NP. Leno Lau. I hate when we type something and Kyonko has to scream to make himself audible.
I'm screaming right now? Oh, you mean when you guys type a bunch of stuff and then I talk and I raise my voice, I guess? I probably didn't notice that. Yeah, anyway, sorry. Sometimes I just get cranky or I just don't feel like watching a certain thing, and don't take it personally, like I don't like what you like or anything. It's just I try and keep a bit of a flow going, and sometimes it feels like certain things
Leno Lau.
might
I mean,
not
it's our fault.
might not work the best.
Ergo
Aw,
Foxy. Okay,
save your
NP.
renegade angel, so good. Anyways, here's some My Little Pony.
Where are you going? I can think of...
No, I'm kidding.
Leno Lau. We have to get a clip from this video though.
But if you guys make
Leno Lau.
clips,
Do something clippable.
okay. Hello, I am Clippy McClipperton. Oh, I know. Watch like some haunted early internet media.
Why, hello there. I'm leveraging real-time, legacy-compliant collaborative micro-branding to complete the most important project in my company's history. As soon as I finish this proposal,
It looks like you're writing a letter. Oh! Would you like help?
You little metallic...
You little metallic... Try rephrasing your query. For example, print multiple copies of a file will lead to...
Stop! Listen, Next to Microsoft Bob, you are the most annoying thing in computer history.
You know Bob. He's a friend of mine.
Get lost! Didn't you hear? Office XP has put your
Ergo
skinny metal
Foxy.
butt in the digital dustbin.
It's the guy that got cancelled
Just look.
after the tsunami.
Oh, Gilbert Gottfried?
Lenolau. Who? Ergo Foxy.
XP. As in X paperclip?
Is there any way to turn that moronic paperclip off?
Memo to Bill Gates. If that paperclip pops up one more time,
I can't take that thing anymore. I quit. You're toast, pal. I'm going to need you to back out of the cubicle.
Oh, really? Office XP, eh? Well, we'll just see about this. Hey, you! It looks like you're writing a letter. Would you like...
Beat it.
Ergo Foxy.
Oh man, that compressed audio.
Of Windows XP for a stream.
Oof.
Ergo Foxy. Irk the movie searching is a tour of Windows XP.
Well,
before we go,
this is
We'd like to leave you
with this
the end of the stream, so I'll leave you with this. That crying Scotsman who just ran off stage, that's Craig Ferguson who did the voice.
So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. Everybody!
Don't know when, I know we'll meet again some sunny day. I like that song. It's a World War II song. Got like popular in World War II, but it has a nice vibe to it. We'll meet again. Don't know how, don't know when. I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Oh, right, I'm supposed to end the stream now. Sorry. Okay. Thank you guys again for making this a lot of fun. We'll stream again tomorrow. I'll try and do a longer stream. And try and get started streaming earlier, so. Oh, chap, you have some really weird requests. You need to check your request privileges. I'm not your entertainment monkey. I'm a fox. Kind of. Yep, bye everyone. Love you guys. Be safe. And yeah, take care. And we'll see you guys next stream. Bye-bye.